Right, my friends, who thinks it's time that Manchester United made some sensible transfers? I know that I do. The question is, today, what is a sensible transfer? Well, for today's purpose, it's going to be players that could allow Manchester United to plan for the future, potential bargain opportunities, or just players that I like and we haven't spoken about yet this summer. So, let's go. So the first player that we are going to look at is a sensible transfer because he's Premier League proven and he addresses a position that we currently need addressing without blocking the path of some of our youngsters. Seems pretty sensible to me. Anthony Robinson, 27 years old, currently playing for Fulham, and I think the fact that he is 27 years old is important. We have other good young left wing backs like Patrick Dorgu, Harry Amas maybe, Diego Leon, but none of them are ready to start right now. We don't want to sign a 22-year-old fullback and block their development, but by signing a 27-year-old, it could allow it to work quite nicely. In terms of what you're getting with Robinson in his performances, it's just an unbelievable engine. He currently plays as more of a natural fullback for Fulham, but I really do think there is the potential to be a wingback just because of the ridiculously relentless way he is able to get up and down the side of the pitch. His endurance, his stamina is just phenomenal, but also his intensity. This isn't someone who just sort of jogs up and down all day long. He is sprinting. He is going full pelt constantly, and it really is a touchline player that we are looking at here, and that could suit Cunha. We know that Cunha likes to pick up the ball and move into more central positions. You know, he's not a touchline winger. So having Robinson who could overlap and provide that width in the final third, allowing Manchester United to stretch the pitch could be really, really useful. And once in the final third, he got 10 assists in the Premier League last season. That's pretty darn good. I think he's a really good option. He's gradually improved defensively as a player as well and is particularly strong in the air. I think it's sensible. By the way, I apologise for the lighting today and the visual effect. Both cameras have decided to go wrong this week and are close to being drop-kicked out of existence. So, hopefully we'll fix that soon. Sensible transfer number 2 is going to be another relatively defensive player. We are going to look at a centre-back. And you guys might go, AJ, we don't need centre-backs. We've got Harry Maguire, we've got De Ligt, we've got Lisandro Martinez, we've got Lenny Yoro, we've got Mazraoui. And I get it, we've got a lot of centre-back options. However, I do think that in 12 months we are going to need to address this position because Harry Maguire will probably be moved on by then, and Lisandro Martinez, if he has another injury-hit season, may have to be moved on. So why not try and sign a young centre-back who can sort of learn his trade at Manchester United and then come in and be a starter maybe next season, you know, in 18 months' time. How about Ryan Flamingo, 22 years old, currently playing for PSV and playing very well actually at the Euro Under-21 tournament this summer. Ryan Flamingo, really interesting name and actually a really interesting player, mainly because of his versatility. He has played in so many different positions already in his career. I see him, for me personally, as a centre-back in the long term, particularly on the right side of defence, but he can also actually play as a holding midfielder, which immediately is going to tell you the sort of player that we're talking about here, a technical defender. So yes, still for me a defender, but a technical one. If you can go play midfield and not look out of your depth, you can play it and back and look comfortable on the ball. And he is. He is someone who takes responsibility in the first phase. He wants the ball. He wants to turn under pressure. He's got that sort of tight turning circle where he can move past people when they try and press him. He's a really comfortable ball player. Now, I feel that recently when we've spoken about comfortable ball players, we've often then gone on to speak about their ball carrying, their ability to dribble and drive through the pitch. And Flamingo does possess some of that, but what I'm more interested in personally is actually his passing range. He's a really, really good passer, and in terms of Manchester United next season, and maybe the season beyond, trying to move the ball a little bit quicker, move the ball through the thirds, be incisive through the lines, I think Flamingo could be a really good option because of almost the aggression and the speed with which he looks to move the ball forward. He's not someone who wants to just circulate the ball around the back three. He wants to have an impact, and playing on the right side of defence could be perfect for that. In terms of long-term squad building, he also works in a back four as well. He could play as a right centre-back in a back four, or maybe in a sort of defensive right-back position as well, and maybe even as a holding midfielder. Like, this guy can play so many different positions. He's a really good utility player. He's only 22 years old, so he's probably just going to keep getting better. I think he's a great option. Now for sensible transfer number 3, we are going to return to the Premier League because I think Premier League experience is really important, but he's also not actually a Premier League player because his team just got relegated to the Championship. I am of course talking about Fernandes from Southampton, just 20 years old, and I think straight away he represents a really nice market opportunity. Bright young player, came through the Sporting Academy, so Amorim probably knows the guy, and has got Premier League experience, played a lot of football last season, and is now available at a cut price because of relegation. that seems like a sensible transfer to me. In terms of what you're getting with Fernandes, you're getting a busy boy, a player who wants to just be involved everywhere. Not necessarily a 6, not necessarily a 10, just one of those all-round complete midfielders that can do a little bit of everything, wants to be busy, wants to get stuck in, wants to cover ground, and plays with a strong intensity. Fernandes ticks all of those boxes, which makes him a really cool player. I mean, also, 2 Fernandezes in midfield? Who could complain at that? Interestingly though, Fernandes doesn't necessarily have to be a midfielder. He could also play a little bit further up the pitch, perhaps as an inside forward. In terms of the positions he played last season, he covered pretty much every blade of grass and played in pretty much every single position. In terms of what he offers on the ball, technical ability. Players can't play across the pitch if they're not good with the football at their feet, and Fernandes is no different. He's a really good player on the ball, and he's a really good passer. I quite like his passing range, and when given more responsibility on the ball, I think he gets better and better. You know, when his team asks him to play on the ball, he just improves. He relishes in that, and he's great at moving the ball forward for his team. But that doesn't mean he is, again, exclusively a 6 who's going to sit deep, because I also think his energy makes him so valuable for what he does off the ball, in possession, so the runs off the ball, particularly into the right side channel over here. So perhaps he could start in a deeper midfield position, but then be given that license to bomb forward. Or he could just play as a 10 / a winger in this area, and again look to play in half spaces, move forward. I think Fernandes ticks so many boxes of what a good young Premier League player should be, and that's why this would be sensible for United, especially at a cut price. Now, the 4th player is actually going to be a relatively similar player. Again, we're looking at Premier League experience, but quite a young player. Not a 6, not a 10, but someone that can do everything in midfield. Elliot Anderson at Nottingham Forest. Now, I'm amazed this guy ever went to Forest. Newcastle lost themselves a gem here. When he played for Newcastle, he was clearly going to be a good player. Unfortunately, that thing called PSR got involved, and Anderson made the move to Forest, and he just hasn't looked back since then. Again, what we're talking about here, a bit like Fernandes, is a proper Premier League midfielder. And what I mean by that is they can just do a bit of everything. He can work with the ball at his feet. His quick footwork is really impressive to get himself out of tricky situations. He can carry the ball forward. He can drive with the ball. But out of possession, he covers a lot of ground. He plays with a great intensity. He snaps into tackles. And what he loves more than anything is physical contact. And if you're going to survive as a Premier League midfielder, you have to be able to work with contact. Whether that's being a small player that uses your body well to roll under the opposition, or a big dominant player that's going to hold people off, you have to be able to use your body, and Anderson is very good at it for such a young player. He thrives. Again, he relishes his duels. He wants to be in battles, and that's what Manchester United need in midfield. People that can play shoulder to shoulder, that can go into big tackles, but then, importantly, offer you something on the ball. And Anderson, a bit like Fernandes previously, again, offers versatility. He can play deep in a double pivot. He can play in a midfield 3. He could probably play in one of these more advanced positions as well, a little bit higher up the pitch, where he offers a genuine level of creativity, I would say. He's quite creative in the final third. And I actually think he can probably add more goals to his game as well. I do think he is such a complete package, which makes him a good player. Now, for the final player on this list, we are going to look at more of an attacking player. And the reason for that is because, for me, Manchester United is all about attacking football. Always has been, and should always be the case. And particularly wingers, players that are quick, creative, agile, and they want to get you excited in the final third. Currently at Manchester United, if Garnacho is sold, we only have Ahmad and Cunha, who can sort of play on the wing but isn't a proper winger. Manchester United need wingers at the football club. It's what the football club is based upon. I want one, and I think Malik Fofana, 20 years old, currently playing for Lyon, could be a good option. And it may be a name that you're familiar with because he actually came on against us in the Europa League and looked really quite nice in his little cameo. And what you're getting with Fofana is quite a versatile winger. Now, what I mean when I say versatile is not that he can play loads of different positions. You know, last season he was pretty much a left-sided player the whole time, although I think he could do a job on the right. What I'm talking about with versatility is the ability to operate in different zones of the pitch, in different areas and in different game states. I think in one moment, Fofana can be quite an explosive, wide 1-versus-1 threat. So he can pick the ball up in wide positions, drift into this area, isolate a fullback, slow them right down, throw in a bit of skill, and then have too much acceleration, too much power, burn them round the outside and get himself into the final third. But also, I think Fofana can do the other side of the game as well. Where you start in a more central position, you receive with your back to goal a little bit more, and it's more about agility, the ability to kind of evade pressure, a tight first touch, you know, being close control, being able to link with people. I think Fofana really possesses that, which is what makes him an interesting player. the fact that he can be almost 2 different types of winger, which is perfect for this system because it means he can go outside or inside. Now, obviously, I know we're signing Cunha already. He's already at the football club. But like I said, I do think Fofana could maybe do a job on the other side, and also squad depth. Everyone seems to forget that you can have squad depth. And, you know, Fofana is still a little bit raw with some of his dribbling decisions. He's not a perfect player. So having him as a squad player who can play on both sides of the pitch seems like a good idea to me. And what I just love about him is that he's 2-footed and can move into different zones. If you want a winger that I like, if they can dribble, play with both feet and move into different areas, chances are I'm going to like them. And Fofana ticks all of those boxes. The 2-footed play in the final third, I think, is so underappreciated. It's so good. It unlocks different angles of approach. You can't force him one way because no matter what way you send him, he's still going to hurt you. A winger that can do that is my type of winger. And I think Fofana got a decent return last season in terms of goal contributions, considering the amount of minutes that he played. And I think what we're going to see with Fofana, I don't know if he'll move this summer, but I think in the next 12 months, at some point in that stage, there's going to be a bit of a bidding war for this guy because I think he's very, very good, very impressive. So in terms of sensible transfers, why not try and get ahead of everyone? So that is 5 sensible transfers for Manchester United this summer. Now, I would not go out and sign all 5 of these because as a bunch, they're not good enough to really take Manchester United to the next level. But if you pick one of them, add them to the Manchester United squad, then I think you've got yourself a huge upgrade in different positions there. So that is my question for you guys. If you could only sign one of these players from this list, who would it be and why? Let me know your answer in the comments down below. Again, apologies for the lighting. I don't know what's going on with these cameras. They're making me lose my mind a little bit. Like here, I can literally control light across my body. I don't know when I got that ability, but hopefully it will be sorted soon. Apart from that, I'm waffling. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.